Hey guys, this is Jaden from Team Shadow Strike coming at you, and it is now the month of September, which means we are less than a month away from Pokemon X and Y coming out. So in honor of Pokemon X and Y, I started thinking, God, there's already 600 and some Pokemon, and we're going to get more now. And now we're getting Mega Pokemon, so Pokemon like Charizard and Ampharos and Lucario and all these other Pokemon that we've come to love are getting Mega forms, so it's kind of like a fourth stage, So I thought I would narrow it down and give you my top 10 favorite Pokemon, just to have something cool to talk about, because I am starting to get a little bit excited about Pokemon X and Y now, mainly because, I'm actually, now that I'm starting to kind of wrap my mind around it, I'm actually really excited about it. So I thought I would bring you my top 10 favorite Pokemon list. So keep in mind, this is just my personal opinion. Feel free to, in the comment section below, leave your top 10 favorite list, and we'll just kind of see what Pokemon are most popular amongst people on this channel, I guess. First off, the honorable mentions. The honorable mentions go to Glaceon, Umbreon, Aggron, and Alakazam. I love these 4 Pokemon. I've used them all in my journeys so many times on the Pokemon games, but they just didn't make the cut. I love all 4 of you, and I'm pretty sure I'll use you again someday, but sorry. Number 10. My 10th favorite Pokemon is Houndoom. Houndoom is a dark fire type. It looks like a fucking demon with horns on its head, and this Pokemon was so cool for Generation 2. It was a must-have when I was playing Silver and Gold, or Soul Silver and Heart Gold, because it is a dark Pokemon with fire attacks. His attack and speed stats were pretty good. He learned some of the best moves in the game. I mean, any Pokemon that learns Flamethrower, in my opinion, is a good fire type, because not all fire Pokemon learn that attack, and it is such a good stab move. So I love Houndoom. I love how he looks. I'm a big dog person. I have a Wolf Husky of my own. So I'm big on dogs, and it's not the only dog on this top 10. Number 9. Well, we go from dog to big-ass cat. My number 9 favorite Pokemon is Snorlax. Snorlax is the heaviest Pokemon known to mankind, we thought, before Wailord came along, which really pissed me off. I mean, a fucking whale? I mean, really? Snorlax, it's a cat that sleeps and eats 1,000 pounds of food a day. Come on. Snorlax is good for so many reasons, guys. I like having Snorlax in my team. I like teaching him moves, especially a move either like Ice Beam or Ice Punch, because he's a bitch for Dragon Pokemon to take out. This thing is the wall of walls. I mean, if you were going to ask me what is your top 3 favorite Pokemon to use as the wall in your group, or the defensive wall, or whatever. I mean, there's so many terms thrown around, but you know what I mean. My 3 favorites would be Snorlax, Blissey, and Lapras. Yes, Lapras. But Snorlax is definitely my favorite, because he is so... He is... You can make Snorlax's moveset fit whatever you're missing from your group, really. You can use him to... I think he can learn about every HM move except Fly. Wouldn't that be pretty fucking cool? You just see a cat laying on his back, and he's just soaring across the sky. I eat so much food, I have my own gravity! I'm weird. Number 8. Scizor. And the only steel type that made the cut. Aggron almost got on here, but Scizor got on here for one reason. He's red, and he looks like one of the biggest badasses Pokemon has. I mean, have you seen Scizor? And he's getting a Mega Form, from what I've heard, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, I've seen so many different people's Mega Form Pokemon, I can't remember which ones are real and which ones are just fan-made. But if Scizor got I mean, Scizor's already badass looking enough. But if he gets a Mega Pokemon, I'm just gonna... Ugh. But Scizor is amazing, guys. This thing has incredible speed. And he can learn some pretty decent attacks. I like him mainly to stick out there as my first Pokemon, just based off his speed. I think I might still have him somewhere. I had this Scizor, and his quick attack, I don't know why. He was a legit Scizor raised. I caught him as a Scyther in the bug catching contest at level 13, and I powered him up into, I think I got him all the way up into his 80s. I never made him up to 100. But for some reason, every single time I used Quick Attack, it was a critical hit, and it did about half the damage. I mean, he was amazing, and for that reason, he made the top 10. Aggron almost took his spot as the only Steel type on this list, because Aggron is a very badass Pokemon, but I gotta pay homage to Scizor, because when I played Silver for the very first time as a little kid, he's the only reason I beat the Elite Four, because I can remember once, when I was playing it for the very first time, I was fighting Lance, and Scizor was more leveled up than my starter, which, when I played Silver for the very first time, I took Totodile. Because, guys, I love Typhlosion, but I'm sorry, Totodile freaking danced while he was beating your ass. How cool is that? And another cool fact about me, when I played Silver for the first time, I gave Totodile my Everstone. I just couldn't let my Totodile go. I love Totodile. And I still do that to this day. If I use a Totodile, I use a Totodile. And my Scizor, do not ask me how, was able to get through all 3 of Lance's Dragonites. I had one of them almost dead after he restored it and got it back down to where he killed the Pokemon before I threw out Scizor. Scizor's Quick Attack knocked out that Dragonite. And then somehow, that one Scizor was able to beat 2 Dragonite. I don't know how that works, but a Scizor beat 2 Dragonites. For that reason alone, he deserves to be on this top 10 list. So, Scizor, I love you. Number 7, Garchomp. It's a shark dragon, guys. It is a ground dragon type, and the only thing that pisses me off about this is it can't fly, but he learns some of the best attacks. A dragon, a Pokemon that can learn Dragon Claw and Earthquake in the same 4 moveset is pretty badass. That's all I'm going to say. I love Garchomp. And if I'm going to have a dragon in my team, when I'm narrowing it down to the types I want to use for every game I play, if I decide dragon, sorry Dragonite, love you, but I go to Garchomp. Number 6, Tyranitar. Tyranitar, I am convinced, guys, okay, little off the note here, you know, I think if we just did, I think the reason Pokemon don't exist in real life, I know this is going to be real weird, but I think the reason Pokemon don't exist in real life is because we mow our grass. We don't let it grow tall. You know, I'm convinced that if we let our grass grow tall like it always is in these Pokemon games, we might go out one morning to get our mail or get the morning paper, and we just see a Tyranitar walking down our sidewalk. I mean, come on, wouldn't that be cool? Wow. But Tyranitar is easily, it made this list easy. He was one of the first few that popped in my head, but he's just not higher up. That's why he's number 6 on this list. Tyranitar is so cool. He's a ground dark Pokemon. The only thing I hate about this is they're incredibly hard to raise, but they're totally worth it. Larvitar learns some pretty badass moves for just being a Larvitar. And then you're stuck in this Metapod stage for like 10 levels or whatever it is, and then you get this big, badass fucking... He looks like a cross between a dragon and a snake. I mean, he's just badass. And I found a legit shiny Larvitar. And Tyranitar's shiny, guys, he looks like he should be something that our military should be using. Imagine that. Our soldiers are over in Iraq, the Israelis are over there, and all of a sudden they see a Tyranitar running at them, looks like he's in fucking camo. God, that'd make those fucking terrorists think twice before attacking us again. Anyway, number 5, Arcanine. Arcanine is on here because, guys, I can remember when I very first saw Arcanine. This was when I was a little kid, and I was begging my mother to get me a dog. Well, we couldn't have a dog because we had cats. And don't get me wrong, I love my cats. But anyway, or my cats that I had when I was a little kid. But anyway, since she couldn't get me a real dog, she got me a stuffed Arcanine. And it's somewhere. I should have dug it out for this video. But she got me a stuffed Arcanine instead. Well, Mom, I love you to death, but I guess I did technically get a dog, right? I mean, Arcanine is a badass Pokemon, guys. It is one of the very few I think it might be the only... No, it's one of 2 Pokemon on this list that are just one type. And Arcanine, I just love, guys. He is one of my favorites when I ever need a fire type. I pretty much have it narrowed down to 2, and he's one of them. And I just alternate between them between games. But my favorite fire Pokemon, you'll find out actually next. Sorry guys, my throat's really dry. Number 4. My 4th favorite Pokemon, and the only Pokemon out of all these that is derived from a starter, comes from the Hoenn region, and starts out as a little chicken and evolves into something that looks like he belongs in UFC, and that is Blaziken. Guys, Blaziken is my favorite fire Pokemon. Sorry, Arcanine. But I love Blaziken. Hoenn brought us so much. It was the first region that introduced double types. It introduced abilities. It introduced weather. It introduced underwater. I mean, it's weather so much. And Blaziken, oh my god. Guys, I remember when I got, I think the first one I got was Ruby. I could be wrong. My mom also got me the little book that came with it. You know, the Pokedex guidebook that literally walks you through the game, and it has the Pokedex in the back. I think when I very first saw Ruby and Sapphire, I did not see what any of the starters were, really. And when she got me this, I looked in the back and looked at the 3 starters, and I looked at what Trico, Mudkip, and Torchic evolved into. Trico's cool. Not a big fan of Sceptile, though. Just not. Sorry. Mudkip evolves into Swampert. In my opinion, one of the best water Pokemon there is. And I do like him, he's not one of my favorites. Or one of my top 10s. And then you have this chicken that evolves into a bigger chicken that evolves into this badass fucker that looks like he belongs in the UFC. I love Blaziken, I love using him, and he's still my favorite fire Pokemon. And if I need a fire Pokemon, I either go for Blaziken or Arcanine, but unfortunately, I usually go for Blaziken just because he looks so badass. And the fact that he's getting a Mega form, which, by the way, Mega Blaziken looks fucking awesome. I can't wait, because I am definitely going to be using that. Number 3. My 3rd favorite Pokemon of all time is Raichu. Yes, I'm that one kid. I'm sorry, when I very first started watching Pokemon, I liked Pikachu. I liked him. But then that episode came along where Ash was in Vermilion City and he fought Lieutenant Surge and Raichu appeared in the anime for the first time. And I was like, I want it! I'm sorry, Pikachu. Raichu's cooler than you. Because when raised properly, Raichu is literally one of the fastest Pokemon there possibly is. And his moveset can be limited, but you can work with it. I have a really good Raichu that I use on my team, who's just amazing. I like proving people wrong that a lot of people now, when they talk about electric Pokemon, they want to use a Pokemon like Electivire, who can learn a lot better moves. But I'm sorry, I love Raichu, and he's the electric Pokemon I always go to 9 times out of 10. I've used Electivire before, love Electivire, but Raichu will always be my favorite electric type. Number 2. The number 1 and number 2 slot for me, it's almost interchangeable. But this guy is the number 2, unfortunately, for him, and that is Gengar. Guys, I love Gengar. He's the fastest Pokemon in the world when trained properly. His moveset is badass, period. Not gonna say anything else, because I'm down to about less than a minute and I gotta get to the number 1. My number 1 favorite Pokemon is Lucario. With the right moveset, guys, this guy can beat anything. He's a non-legendary that has his own movie, and it's one of the best movies that Pokemon has ever produced. I love Lucario. He is always on my team. Always. Not once have I played a game where he's not on my team after he came out. And that is my top 10 favorite list for Pokemon. In the comment section below, tell me your favorite Pokemon. Tell me which ones I liked that you liked. Also, put your personal top 10 favorite list if you wish. I would love to hear what you guys and see what your favorites are. Comment, subscribe, thumbs up the video, and I'll see you guys later.